Let's talk to God. One more thing, like, subscribe, and share. Come on, let's talk to God. Woo!
Good evening, everybody. Let me make sure I get this right. I have to make sure I get the right setup each time because they've done something new with this software. But it's Cutler here in the Let's Talk to Cutler broadcast. So Let's Talk to Cutler virtual book club. Let's Talk to Cutler YouTube platform. And it is another Tuesday that I get to spend with you all for these 1800 seconds. And I'm really, really delighted about it. I'm excited to engage in the conversation this evening because it comes from these questions, so many questions that I get. And I think the conversation this evening is going to be thought provoking. I hope it's really going to be motivational to some degree. I hope it's going to be inspirational. And that's why I show up hoping to be inspirational, hoping to be motivational, hoping to have something that sometimes challenges us to be our best selves, even in the worst of situations. It's about being the best version of yourself as often as you can. Because guess what? We're not always the best version. Disclaimer, we are not always the best versions of ourselves, but in life, the goal is to be the best version of yourself as often as you can. So we have these conversations that challenge us and that push us to the space of being better, saying, hey, I just want to make sure that I face tomorrow better than I did today. It doesn't mean that I dot every I, it doesn't mean that I cross every T, but we have these conversations on this platform, no judgment, so that we can make sure that we're heading to the space and this place is called better. So thank you all for spending this time with me. Come on into the chat room. I see some of you've logged in, but you haven't hopped over to the chat. Come on into the chat room, say hi and say hello to everybody. It's another Tuesday. I don't know where you are, but it's been a little rainy and a little bit dismal where I am. But the rain doesn't make me feel dismal. It doesn't make me feel bad. It doesn't make me feel sad. As a matter of fact, it's just a part of life. Everything's just a part of life. I'm just feeling so connected to everything. Everything's just a part of life. And so I want to say thank you all for allowing me to be a part of your life. And I really mean that wholeheartedly. Thank you all for allowing me to come into whatever space you've allowed me to come in. I don't take it for granted. But here on this broadcast, again, we spend this quality time. So thank you all for that. I'm going to hop into the conversation in just a moment. But before I do, I want to acknowledge the LTTC VIP. So let's talk to color. Very important people. Everybody's a very important person to me. The mere fact that you showed up means that you are important to me and that you are connected to me. So thank you so very much. And I know I haven't met everybody who shows up on this platform, but thank you all for spending this time. And let me just acknowledge the top three people, the first three people that I see on my end. Again, you all don't lambaste me, don't roast me, because I'm just talking about the top three people that I see on my end, okay? And they are Annie Cutler, Linda Martin, and Paula D. It's so good to see all of you all on this 22nd day of April, the year 2025. Are you all doing okay? Are you doing okay? We're in April, we're in the second quarter, and I hope everyone is doing okay. I hope things are going well. No, maybe everything is not right, and maybe everything is not necessarily perfect, but I hope things are going well. And on this platform, again, if you haven't, if this is your first time, then just know that this is a platform where it's not a somebody done me wrong song. It's not gloom, doom, despair, and misery on anybody, but it's about spending quality time in this community where, and in this space where we can offer motivation and encouragement and inspiration to each other, and also challenge us from time to time to just be our best selves. And that's what I want to do. So I want to get into the conversation because recently I've been having more and more reflective conversations with people about wanting to make sure that they're on the right path, wanting to make sure that they've done the right things with their life, wanting to make sure that they're at a stage where they can just look back over their lives and say, okay, you know what, I'm doing okay. I'm where I should be. Have you ever had those questions and you've questioned yourself to say, Am I where I should be? Am I doing what I should be doing? Have I met the people that I need to meet? Have I accomplished the things that I need to accomplish? Have I recognized and realized the successes in my life that I should have by now? Any of y'all ever have those kind of questions where you just sort of question yourself? Yeah, it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that you feel like your life is a waste, but you're just kind of doing inventory because you want to make sure that here we go. You want to make sure that you're on the right path. And I get it. Cutler, can you make a guarantee? No, I can't make any guarantees to anybody. No, can I look through a crystal ball? No, I can't do any of that. But one of the things I can suggest is that we sit and we have a conversation to make sure that we are clear about our goals, clear about our values, clear about what we want to do, where we want to go, how we want to be, how we want to show up, who we want to be, and those sorts of things. And I think it comes from just having the conversation and sitting down and just talking with the right people. I think it means that we have to engage in self-care and self-love. I think it means that we need to put self-doubt and self-loathing aside so many times, because you can be your worst enemy, your own worst enemy. You can be your worst self-saboteur, which means that you sabotage yourself even before you give yourself a chance. How many of you have ever done that? You don't have to put it in the comments, you don't have to put it in the chat, but how many of us know, or sometimes we've been the person we sabotaged our plans, our goals, our hopes and dreams before we ever get started. And then when people join the sabotaging party, we ask them, what are you doing here? And they say, well, listen, you were just crucifying yourself, you were just killing yourself, you were just sabotaging yourself, so I just decided to join in on your party. And it makes you stop back and think, wow, do I behave like that? Do I show up like that? Is that how I treat myself? Is that how I respond to myself? Is that how I act when I'm concerning myself? I want us to reflect and say, you know what? You're doing okay. You're doing all right. You're on the right road. You're on the right path now. And I want us to think about that. Life is about standing where you are, looking at where you've been, but looking prospectively at where you're going and saying, you know what, I'm okay with where I am. And even if I'm not okay with where I am, I'm okay with the fact that this is not where I'm always going to be. You've got to know that you're on the right path. Cutler, how do I know that? Is there some guarantee that I'm on the right path? No. There is no guarantee. There is no guarantee, and I can't make any guarantees. But one of the things that I can do is to discuss how to just make sure, how to do some kind of inventory. Just doing your best to make sure that you are where you need to be. What does it look like? What does it mean that you have to do? One of the things that it means that you have to engage in. And listen, do me a favor, go and tell somebody, come on, let's talk the color, because tonight the man is going to talk about how to make sure that we're on the right path, or doing our best to make sure that we're on the right path. Whatever topic, however you want to title this tonight, it's about making sure, or doing your best to see and see if you're on the right path. One of the things that I just suggested is about self-reflection. It is about introspection. You have to ask yourself certain key questions. What is my purpose? What are my passions? What am I uniquely positioned to be able to do? And you have to ask yourself those questions, and you have to look back over your life, and you have to reflect on when you felt you were your most productive self. You really have to take inventory and say, when was I my most productive self? When did I feel like I was the best version of myself? Asking yourself those key questions will help you to ensure that you're where you need to be. And as you're doing that, right, McDonald, she says, most evenings I reflect on my day and make plans for the next day. It is about reflection. And I say this, and I'm a proponent of what I'm getting ready to say. It is about making sure that you meditate on a regular basis. It's about making sure that you journal sometimes. It's about making sure that you talk through your decisions. Because doing all that, meditating, journaling, talking through your decisions, will give you clarity. And it will help you to make informed decisions. You're just not making willy-nilly haphazard decisions, but you have clarity about the decisions that you're going to make. I'm just talking about trying to help us now to ensure that we're where we need to be. So reflection and introspection, it is a part of the process. Will it guarantee that you are where you need to be? No. It doesn't guarantee, but it helps you to reflect. It walks you through the process. And as you're walking through this process, not only do you engage in self-reflection, not only do you engage in introspection. Spec means to look, intro means within. So we're talking about introspection means looking within. And as you're looking within, pay attention to what you see when you look within yourself. Pay attention to your emotions, pay attention to your feelings, pay attention to how you respond. Pay attention to what's important. Ask yourself, where do my decisions come from? When I'm making decisions, when I'm behaving, when I'm responding, where does that come from? Does it come from a place of passion? Does it come from a place of joy? Does it come from a place of happiness? Does it come from a place of exuberance? Or does it come from a place of fear and anxiety and doubt? Does it come from a place of hope? Or a place of feeling dismay? Where do my feelings come from? Where do my actions and reactions, behavior, where does all of that come from? So making sure that you're on the right path and that you're on the right road means that you really have to engage in self-reflection. Let me see myself in the mirror for who I am. Let me look within me and question my feelings and how I respond and ask myself, do I meditate? Do I journal? Do I do all of those things? And while you're doing all of that, it helps you to make sure that you've defined and redefined your values. What are the guiding principles of my life? What is important to me? What are the guiding principles behind my actions, behind my behavior, behind my decisions? What are the guiding principles? Those are called your core values. What is my purpose? And I know we talk about purpose so often, and sometimes here people get lost in trying to find purpose. Purpose is what happens every single day of your life. Purpose is why you're still alive. Purpose is why you're still breathing. Purpose is why your heart is still beating. So what does that mean? Purpose talks about purpose. Purpose is focused on your contribution to the world. What are you giving the world? Well, I never thought about it like that. I thought maybe if I define purpose, then that would give me something to work to. No. Don't get lost in trying to find purpose. Purpose is what you are giving the world. I'm talking to I started with the man in the mirror. Big Don, I hear you. But look at your purpose. Look at your values. What drives your decisions? What are you depositing into the world? That's what defines your values. That's what defines your purpose. And then as you're reflecting, as you're doing this introspective look into who you are, and you're defining and redefining and stating so that you are familiar with your values and so you're familiar with your purpose. I mean, every single day you have to ask yourself, what have I contributed to the world today? What have I deposited into somebody's life? What seed have I sown in the earth? And then you have to make sure that you embrace personal growth, embrace this whole notion of learning, so that way you don't find yourself staying where you are doing the same old thing every day, day in and day out. You have to be open to new experiences, be open to new challenges, be open to new ways of seeing the world, new ways of doing things. That way you're not so afraid to step out of the box. You're not afraid to step out of your comfort zone. You're not afraid to learn from minor setbacks and sometimes from major setbacks and from some falls and fumbles in life. You're not afraid to learn from those things. Be open to new experiences. Be open to new ways of doing things. Be open to new challenges. How can I be so open to those things? Well, one of the things that you can do is seek inspiration from people who've done some of the things that you want to do. Learn from the successes of people who've done what it is that you want to do. But not only, can I say this, not only learn from the successes of people who have done it, but learn from the struggles of those who didn't do it so well. There are lots of people in your circle, in your village, in your space who struggled getting some things done. And you admire them. But if you have a conversation, I dare say you will find that there are people who struggle to get where they are, struggle to achieve what they achieve, struggle to accomplish what they've accomplished, struggle to do what they've done. Learn to be inspired by those people from their struggles and from their successes, from their falls and their failures. Learn to be inspired by that, because despite and in spite of all of that, guess what? You still admire them, because there is this victory and success in their life. So learn to admire them for the whole story. Tell me about your struggles, so that way I would not be so blindsided when I encounter my own. You say that to the people that you admire. That helps you with your growth. That helps you with your learning, because that way you learn that life is just not, you learn that your myopic view of life is not the only view that there is. There's so many more things. So open yourself to new experiences. Be inspired by people's whole story. And make sure that you're constantly learning. Make sure that you're constantly growing. I will never forget one of the things, and I've shared this with you all before. God rest my grandmother's soul. One of the things I remember her saying, she said, "Baby, you're never too old to learn." And in her life, she went back to a community college and became a certified nursing assistant. She reminded me, you're never too old to learn. Learn how to embrace this notion of lifelong learning. I'm just talking about ways to ensure that you're on the right path. Surround yourself with people who you love and admire and trust. Surround yourself by a support system, by a village, by a community, by a group of people who have common interests, by a group of people who will push you when you need to be pushed, pull you when you need to be pulled, stop you when you need to be stopped. Learn how to build a strong network around you. People who believe in you, people who encourage you, people who motivate you, people who are in your corner, sometimes when you're not even in your corner for yourself. People who believe in you when you sometimes don't believe in yourself. Learn how to build a strong network around you. I'm talking about how to ensure that you're on the right path. And then sometimes when you find yourself just with your back against the wall and you really don't know what to do, learn how to seek guidance. That's why you have people in your space. That's why you have people to support you. You can learn from the wisdom of others who have been through what you're yet to go through. You can learn from the wisdom of others who've done what you're now trying to do. That is the value, that is the benefit of having a support system. You want to make sure that you're in the right path. Make sure that you surround yourself with a wonderful support system. And then learn how to trust your values. Learn how to make decisions that are in alignment. Learn how to make decisions that are congruent with. Learn how to make decisions that correspond with what's important to you. Prioritize your life and make sure that what you do, make sure that your passions, make sure that your behavior, make sure that your wills and your hopes and your dreams are in alignment with what's important for you. That way, that way, the work that you do and the commitments that you make, they are driven with this kind of passion. This is what's important to me. This is what I'm determined to do. This is a part of my purpose. This is what I'm depositing in the earth. This is my seed that I'm sowing in the ground. I'm learning how to embrace personal growth. I'm learning how I'm learning how to surround myself with a support system. I'm learning how to reflect, because Cutler reminded me that these are ways, this is a part of the process to make sure that I am on the right path. Anybody ever ask yourself, I just want to make sure I'm on the right path. Everything might not be going right, but I want to make sure that at least I'm on the right path. And if I'm standing on the right path, I may not be able to see any farther than 5 feet in front of me. But what I know is that when I'm on the right path, everything along this path is going to work together for my good. Why? Because I'm on the right path. And while you're making these wonderful decisions, you are now mindful. You're cognizant of the choices that you're making. I've got to be on the right path. I've got to stand in the right place. And so the choices that I make have to be aligned with my values. They have to be aligned with my purpose. They have to be aligned with what I hope and what I want to do in life. They have to be aligned with my dreams and my goals and my aspirations. You are aware of the choices that you make. You're careful about the choices of what you hear, what you say, what you touch, what you do, where you go, how you be, how you show up. You're even mindful about the expressions on your face, about how you respond to struggles, because your mindset is now that whatever I do is going to have an impact on my future. I need to make sure I'm on the right path. And so all the choices that I make will impact my future. And when you're constantly engaged in these kinds of behaviors and this kind of process and these practices, you will find yourself in this space where you have clarity about the fact that you're on the right path. That you're on the right path for you. Nobody can define your path for you except for the Creator and you. Anything else you add to this, Cutler? Yeah. Let me talk about some of my experiences. Let me be transparent for just a moment. Because I did not always engage in those practices, you all. But what I now know, what I now know is that being on the right path is not always the most comfortable feeling. Because being and standing in the right way, in the right path, there's some ways you stand back and you look and you say, okay, I get it. Cutler, thank you for all that. Let me be just transparent. Because sometimes standing on the right road and the right path comes with a sense of discomfort. I told you have to think and be willing to get outside of the box. Some indicators that you're on the right path is just when you feel unsure. I'm trying to help save somebody's life. Cutler, I can't speak for you. I sort of say you. My experience is that there were times when I felt most unsure. I now look back and say those are the times when you were on the right path, Cutler. Why would you say that? Because doubt and uncertainty, whenever you're getting ready to do something new, whenever you're going to bust out of the box, whenever you're going to launch into something that's different, that you're not so familiar with, that's okay. That lets you know sometimes when you are unsure, you're on the right path. That was part of my experience. When I questioned myself the most, when I was most unsure, those were times when I now look back and realize, Cutler, you were on the right path. Times when we go through emotional turmoil, you're up and you're down and your emotions are all over the place, positive and negative, good and bad. That can sometimes be an indicator of change. It can be an indicator of growth, because growth is not always comfortable. I told y'all about the time when I was 13, the summer that I was 13 and when I turned 14. And by the time I got from my 8th grade over the summer to the 9th grade, I had grown 3 inches. Growth is not all, and it was painful. Growth is not always comfortable. Sometimes when you're dealing with emotional turmoil, it's an indicator that you're on the right path. It just means that you're growing. It just means that you're growing. Sometimes when you're on a road and you're running into pitfall after pitfall and challenge after challenge, and you have to jump over this hurdle and you have to jump over that, that could be an indicator that you're on the right path. Why? Because nobody ever said that the road would be easy. the progress that you make, the forging ahead that you make, it does not always come easy. Sometimes it comes with discomfort. Sometimes it means that you have to veer to the left or to the right. But that can be an indicator that you're on the right path. I hope I'm helping somebody this evening. I really, really do, you all, because when you're standing on the right path and to know that you're on the right path, yeah, I talked about the process earlier, but now let me talk about how it feels, the real deal of how it sometimes feels. You're unsure, you're going through turmoil. You're facing challenges and hurdles and pitfalls and obstacles and all of those things. And sometimes you're fraught with fear. And you have to learn to overcome that. That can let you know sometimes that you're standing on the right path because you're learning how to deal with your fears. You're learning to develop courage. You only develop courage when you deal with fear. Can I say that again? You only develop courage as you deal with fear. As you grow through the things that you were once afraid of, you're developing courage. For me, that lets me know I'm on the right path. I'm doing okay here. It's not as bad as I thought. I'm on the right road. And as much as I talked about trying to surround yourself with a support system, and you do that, that's a part of the process. But can I say this to you? This was my process. Although I did my best to surround myself with a support system, and it is growing, it has grown, it is growing, and I'm so thankful to the Creator for my support system. I'm so thankful to every person who's been a part of my support system and continues to be. I'm thankful for that. But can I tell you that sometimes when I found myself feeling all alone, that was an indicator that I was on the right path. Because sometimes the people that you don't need will start falling off. Their values don't align with yours, and they'll stop dropping off and they'll start falling off. And you'll find yourself sometimes standing by yourself. And you won't find so many hands to hold, so many shoulders to lean on, so many people who say, I got your back. Sometimes when you're feeling all alone, learn how to embrace the solitude of where you are. Learn how to embrace the solitude of where you are. Because sometimes in order to grow the right support system, you have to let go of the wrong support system. And so learn to embrace the solitude and the feeling of alone. That's my experience, you all. But now I'm so very clear that those were moments when more than any other time I was on the right road when I was feeling alone. I was feeling alone because I did not need certain people in my network. I didn't need certain people in my community. I didn't need certain people in my village because, again, in order to embrace the right network, I had to let go of the wrong one. Cutler, you being transparent. I only know how to be transparent. The moment sometimes you don't feel like you fit in, you're on the right path. You're on the right road. Because what happens is you become so very clear about who you are, what you want for yourself. And you'll start rewriting the narrative. You'll write your own narrative, and you will not allow anybody else to write your narrative for you but you. That's a sign that you're on the right path. You don't always fit in with the rest of the crowd. You don't always fit in with everybody else. As a matter of fact, your values and your dreams and those things will change. Your standards will change. And some of those things will become obsolete, and you won't fit in the spaces that you once fit in. You won't share the same ideologies, the thoughts, and the concepts that you once shared. And so you don't always fit into every space now. You are on the right road. You're on the right path. And I'll share this and then I'll get up out of here. I will. But I want you to understand that sometimes, we go through the process of self-reflection, meditating, and all of those things, and we still end up feeling a certain way. I want you to know that your feelings are real. Your feelings are valid. They are just what they are. feelings of discomfort can be your greatest indicator that you're on the right road. Because now there's this fear of the unknown. What happens next? What am I going to do? What's going to happen? Will my future be as secure as my past? I know where I've been, but I've not been where I'm going. And so then you experience this fear of the unknown. And you want to become reclusive and a recluse, and you want to withdraw. And you face one of your greatest fears. I don't know what's out there. Can I tell you, for me, that was the point when I was on the greatest, when without a doubt, I knew I was on the right path. When I got ready to leave home as a boy and rule the rural South and go to the big city to go to college, there was the fear of the unknown. When I got ready to leave the comfort of a career, a job that I had right after graduating from college and go to another city to go to law school, there was the fear of the unknown. Getting ready to leave that city where I thought I was going to plant myself and hold a career, and things didn't work out. When I got a call for a job elsewhere, fear of the unknown. Going years ago, remember, into the pandemic, fear of the unknown. What was going to happen? Fear of the unknown. Losing loved ones, plural. Not knowing how life is going to unfold and what it was going to look like. Fear of the unknown. You're on the right path. All of those feelings are valid indicators to let you know that you're on the right path. And I want you to know that you need to embrace every single one of them. Fear of the unknown, feeling uncertainty, not fitting in, being afraid, feeling that you were going to deal with all these obstacles, going through this emotional turmoil, feeling unsure. Those are feelings that sometimes let you know that you're on the right road, that you're on the right path. And so while you're doing all of that, while you're feeling all of those things, just continue to reflect, continue to look within yourself, continue to make sure that you're defining and sometimes redefining your purpose and your values. Make sure that you embrace the notion of change. You embrace the notion of busting outside of the box. Make sure that you embrace the notion of learning. Make sure that you surround yourself now with the right network and the right support group. Make sure that you make decisions that are aligned with what's important to you, that are your guiding core values. Make sure that you know how to do all of that. And guess what? You're going to be on the right path. I hope I've said something this evening that motivates, that inspires, that encourages you, that might even challenge you. Let's keep doing what we do, you all. Thank you for allowing me to come into whatever space you've allowed me to come into. I thank you so much. But let's keep doing what we do. Let's keep building community and maintaining connectivity. Let's keep growing and knowing that we're on the right path. Stay safe, stay sane, keep your heads up, keep your hopes up, and know that from my heart to yours, there is and will always be so much love. Until the next time we share this space, tell somebody else, come on, and let's talk to Cutler. Good night.